What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so I think I'm a little bit behind with this one. This may have been Friday or yesterday. One of the two. Might have been Friday. But goddamn, I'm talking about today. I don't agree with a lot of what Kendrick Perkins says that comes out of his mouth on ESPN. But he said something recently when talking about this whole thing with Scottie Pippen and the back and forth and the latest comments about Jordan being a horrible player and all that. He said something that was some real shit, and it's kind of some stuff that I've said before in the past about these pointless beefs, this pointless bickering amongst players who, for all purposes, they should be happy. They should be like ecstatic about what they accomplished, but it's just petty grievances. But he was saying that Scottie Pippen, who is 57 years old, I believe Scottie will be 58, I think it's in September. So Scottie Pippen is 57 years old, and he's still hanging on to petty, just asinine shit that happened 25, 30, 35 years ago. It appears that Scottie is a guy that's living in the past and won't let go of the past. Scottie Pippen is, let's look at Scottie Pippen's resume right quick. Because, you get this feeling like Scottie has this chip on his shoulder as if he's somebody that doesn't get his just due, his credit. So this guy's a 6-time NBA champion, a 7-time NBA All-Star. He was a 1994 All-Star Game MVP, 3 times All-NBA First Team, 2-time All-NBA Second Team, 2-time All-NBA Third Team, 8-time NBA All-Defensive First Team, 2-time NBA All-Defensive Second Team. He led the NBA in steals during the 1994-95 season. I believe it was 2.9 steals per game that year. He's one of the 50th greatest players of all time back in 1997. He was voted one of the 75 greatest this time around, though I don't think he came to the ceremony. If you recall, a lot of us speculated because, remember, at that time he had just talked shit about Michael Jordan. Remember that? He had just talked shit about Michael Jordan, and all of a sudden he don't show up. Michael did, surprisingly, but Scottie didn't show up. Wonder why that was. His number 33 retired by the Chicago Bulls. USA Basketball Male Athlete of the Year, 1996. I'm not going to name the college stuff, but 16.1 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, 5.2 assists per contest. Won Olympic gold in Barcelona in 1992 and in 1996. And the FIBA's championship in 1992 in Portland. And he's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He scored almost 19,000 points, grabbed over 7,000 rebounds, dished out more than 6,000 assists, and swiped more than 2,000 steals. And this is something else that I want to point out, because I saw this the other day. Actually, I saw this a while back, but I just want to check something out here. I want to look at MVP voting in the 90s. So I want to start 1990-91. Okay, I don't see him yet. Let's go to 1991-92. So in 1991-92, Scottie Pippen was ninth in MVP voting. Ninth. Ahead of Dennis Rodman, Brad Daugherty, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, Larry Bird, KJ, Kevin Johnson, Danny Manning, and Detlef Schrempf. The next year, 1992-93. Let's look at MVP voting that year. Okay, now that year, Scottie wasn't amongst the top 10. Let's go to 1993-94, his first year without Michael Jordan on the team. He was third in MVP voting. Third, ladies and gentlemen, only behind the winner, Elijah Wan and Dave Robinson, who led the league in scoring. He was ahead of Shaq, Patrick Ewing, Gary Payton, Shawn Kemp, Karl Malone, Mark Price, Charles Barkley, Mookie Blaylock, KJ, Dennis Rodman, Latrell Sprewell, Stockton, Dominique Wilkins, and Kevin Willis. The next year, 1994-95, Scottie Pippen was seventh in MVP voting. Ahead of Stockton, Gary Payton, Penny, Michael Jordan. Even though Jordan made a token appearance for 17 games, but Jordan even got some MVP votes. Ahead of Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, Jason Kidd, Clyde Drexler, Cedric Ceballos. And then the next year, Scottie Pippen was fifth in MVP voting. Ahead of Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Kemp, Grant Hill, Shaq, Stockton, Barkley, Magic, who had came back for a token appearance, Alonzo Mourning, Dennis Rodman, Terrell Brandon. Terrell was that dude for a while in Cleveland, and Mitch Richmond. And then afterwards, after the back injury, Scottie began to deteriorate as a player. But even in 97, Scottie was 11th in MVP voting. And then I think after that he kind of fell off. Really fell off. So I mention all this to say, Scottie, you did get acknowledged as a player. There were many people who called you and Michael Jordan the two best players in the NBA at that time. I never agreed with that, but that was a common theme. Another common theme that was brought up back then was that Jordan was the best player, remember this? But Scottie was the best all-around player as far as scoring, rebounding, playmaking, and defense. That was a term you heard about Scottie. Scottie was sort of like an extension of LeBron James, who, of course, is a far better player, but that's what you heard. So this thing where Scottie gets this feeling like he doesn't get his due, you do, but you're not Michael Jordan. And that's the problem. You want to get the respect that Michael Jordan gets, and it doesn't work like that. Mike came to that team and instantly brought an excitement to basketball in Chicago. I mean, let's look at the facts here. Jerry Krause thought that he was behind the Bulls' success, but when you look at Michael Jordan and you, Scottie, when you guys left, along with Dennis Rodman, the Bulls haven't been shit since. They had a little revival with Derrick Rose, but fate intervened, and in injuries, and a stupid draft day trade with Jimmy Butler ruined that possibility. The Bulls haven't been shit in 25 years for the most part. To me, that kind of proves that Michael Jordan, it was him. It wasn't the organization. It was Michael Jordan. It's not like they put a great team around this guy. And while it's true that Michael Jordan never won a championship without Scottie Pippen, I don't remember Scottie Pippen winning without Michael Jordan either. Now, I know I kind of went away from the point there, but the point is, Scottie, at what point, what's enough for you? Like, what are you searching for? Because even ESPN alluded to it. You need some type of peace in your life. Everybody knows that woman has drove you up a wall. Everybody knows that a lot of your dissatisfaction is coming from what that woman has done to you. Matter of fact, I don't know if this is well known, but did you know that Larsa gets a portion of Scottie Pippen's pension? Every time he gets a pension check, she gets some of it. So it's like, to me, you look at that, you look at the terrible contract that even Jerry Reinsdorf came down from his fucking lair as the owner of the Chicago Bulls, and Jerry Krause. They all warned you against signing that contract, but you signed it anyway. You signed it anyway because you didn't believe in your fucking self. Because if you thought that you were the best player in the NBA, you would have waited until 1993 or so, or a couple of years, so you'd have leverage to sign a better contract. But you're the one who logged yourself into a long-term shitty contract. And you want to blame everybody else. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in 1991, or it might have been during the 1991 season or beginning of the 1991 season, Scottie Pippen signed a 7 or 8 year contract. And his reason behind it was, his family depended upon him as far as money. But the Bulls organization was telling him, you're better off signing a short-term contract and then coming back. But Scottie wanted financial security in case he got hurt or some shit. So, as inflation occurred, as revenue soared, as contracts were getting bigger and bigger because the NBA was becoming more successful, Scottie was locked into a shitty contract. So that by 1997, Scottie was the 122nd highest paid player in the NBA. Or he was making role player money. And that was what pissed him off. Whereas Michael Jordan sacrificed all those years, right? Making all that money from endorsements, but when it came time for him to cash in, that's why he was making those $30 million per year contracts. That's what happens when you have sound advice around you and you make sound business decisions rather than making emotional decisions. But, of course, Scottie Pippen has to blame somebody. And then, when he did finally cash in and signed a big contract with the Houston Rockets, he was a big fucking stinky, nasty ass fucking diarrhea fart with the Houston Rockets. Charles Barkley took a pay cut to get Scottie Pippen there, and he plays like shit. In fact, let me see if I can find these stats for a second. Give me 1 second. Alright, in the first round, Scottie Pippen versus the Lakers. 1999 first round series between the Rockets and the Lakers. Scottie averaged 18.3 points, 11.8 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 1.8 steals, and 0.8 blocks. Now, those numbers look phenomenal, right? I mean, those numbers look really good. But of the 70 shot attempts that Scottie took in that series, 21 were three-pointers. 22 were three-pointers. That's a lot of threes back in the 90s. That's like 30% of his shot attempts were threes. Scottie shot 27% from three and 33% from the floor. 30 fucking 3% from the floor. Meanwhile, Charles Barkley on one goddamn leg, 23.5 points, 13.8 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.5 steals on 53% shooting from the floor. Olajuwon was a shell of himself by then, only averaging 13 points and 7 rebounds per game on 43% shooting. But Charles Barkley was the lazy one? Get the fuck out of here, Scottie. At the end of the day, bro, you're a great player, but in your mind, for some reason, you think that you were like on Jordan's level and you just were not. I watched you play, man. I watched you play. And when I give you all the fucking credit in the world as far as, you know, what you did defensively for the Bulls and shit, man. But I just seen a lot of fucking times when Michael Jordan had to bail out Chicago because Scottie Pippen wasn't doing a goddamn thing offensively. Look, all of us that watch the Bulls, we got mental receipts, hundreds of mental receipts seeing Scottie do that shit. How many times do we see Michael Jordan pass the ball to Scottie, and then Scottie look up at the shot clock and that bitch says 6 seconds left, and what does he do? He passed that bitch back to Michael Jordan. Come on, man. We watched you play, bro. So, yeah, man. That's all I got to say, man. Tell me what you guys think.